Talking with Tom. Turn your dial to cable 18. You will see the best in TV. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Sit back and listen. You will hear the best conversation of the year. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom.
I'm Tom Dacey, joined by the illustrious Mr. Trivia.
Tom, thank you.
And Ed McCarver. We are here for our annual Super Bowl pregame show, Super Bowl 50, with the Carolina Panthers and the Denver Broncos.
Yeah, it's an unofficial holiday. I think Super Bowl Sunday is always considered an unofficial holiday. Everything is having parties and different events, and the world will stop so we can watch Super Bowl 50. And what a better place to be than at the original, the premier sports bar. Lennys was a sports bar long before the term became part of the vogue. And we are here to watch a Super Bowl 50, and we hope, what we hope is an exciting contest between the favorite Carolina Panthers and Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos.
Prior to coming out here today, at last check, I heard that Carolina is favored by at least 6 points.
Yep, it opened at 3.5 points, I think, when the match was made. Then moved to 5.5, and it is now 6. And Mr. Trivia, we should tell you that, as usual for the Super Bowl, neither Tom's favorite team, the Dolphins, or my favorite team, the Jets,
Or my favorite team, the Cowboys,
are not in the Super Bowl this year.
But my beloved Dolphins do have a connection with today's Super Bowl.
And what is that?
It is Don Shula's son Mike is the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I did see that. I do not think there are any Jet connections to this game, and I don't know about. I don't know if Jerry Jones has anything to do with Super
why
Bowl
he sticks
today.
his nose and everything else. I don't know why it's not this one. First of all, though, I do want to say thank you for allowing me to be here. I've heard so much about the show. I'm glad that I'm able to join Tom and Ed McCarver, because what a better place to have Super Bowl Sunday than Lennys Cafe with two good friends and some adult beverages. So.
And of course, we have the #1 offense with the Carolina Panthers going against the #1 defense of the Denver Broncos.
On paper, it looks like a perfect matchup, as you mentioned. Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers with the #1 offense, and the Denver Broncos with Von Miller and their #1 defense. Should be an exciting contest. I'm a little bit worried, and we talked about this before we went on the air. I'm a little bit worried about a blowout, because Carolina, the way in the first half, the way they tore through Seattle, and then 2 weeks ago when they played the Arizona Cardinals, they just destroyed the Arizona Cardinals. I don't want to see a repeat of what happened 2 years ago when Seattle beat Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos 43-8. I'm hoping. I don't know if you can speak loud enough.
How many Buffalo Bills does it take to change a tire?
I don't know.
One, unless it's a blowout, then you need the whole team. But, no, like you were saying, Ed, and like you were saying, Tom, with the #1 offense, #1 defense, history shows that defense wins Super Bowls. I mean, the years Giants and Baltimore played, with great defense, Baltimore had. The Giants were like a high-running offense, and they scored 7 points. And Baltimore just had a great defense, and like I said, history shows that good defense wins Super Bowls.
I remember Baltimore with Ray Lewis and Brian Bellick, and you're right, Mr. Trivia. The defense did win that game. We would like to see, those of us that would like to see Peyton Manning win, and I, being closer in age to Peyton Manning than Cam Newton, would like to see would like to see the old guy win, but I want to see a competitive Super Bowl. Last year was a classic, the Seattle New England game. I would like to see another classic today.
Absolutely, I think everybody's kind of hoping for Peyton to start on a high note.
Yeah, because
Win another Super Bowl.
Yeah, because he's been having that scandal that's been coming up and performance-enhancing drugs. I mean, Peyton Manning, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
It's like smearing Bill Cosby.
yeah.
He's good for the game.
Leading up to the Super Bowl, it wasn't like last year when I think Deflategate was all over the newspapers and all over the web. But this year there has been a little bit of a rippling over the human growth hormones that Peyton was allegedly have taken. So, but not as bad as last year. But you're right, that is one of the stories that's been coming out Super Bowl week.
And you know, I saw before coming down here that Carolina has averaged about 31 points per game.
Well, they are a high potent offense. You know, Cam Newton, what's he, 6'4", 240 pounds. He's as big as most linebackers. And he's powerful, he's fast, he's strong, and he's young. He's just coming into his own. He's got a tremendous future ahead of him no matter what happens today. And I think that's the big question today. How can Denver hold off Carolina? You know, they were able to contain Tom Brady 2 weeks ago, but Tom Brady's not a mobile quarterback. Cam Newton is just the opposite today, so it'll be interesting to see what happens.
I mean, I've told a couple people in the past, you know, we were talking about the playoffs and everything. I wasn't sold on Cam Newton in the beginning because it's like, you know, what's this guy got? Who's he got? And now he's got a plethora of weapons that he can use. Plus, instead, he's a mobile quarterback who probably had more rushing touchdowns than my Cowboys team had all year. But it's going to be hard to see how Denver's going to defend against such a mobile quarterback.
Yeah, it is going to be tough. I know Denver's defensive coach and oh god, it's who's the coach?
Wade Phillips.
Wade Phillips, yeah, I was going to say Bum Phillips' kid. But Wade Phillips, who devised the perfect plan for New England a couple of weeks ago. We'll see what Wade has up his sleeve.
Defensive specialist.
You know, everybody's pulling for Cam Newton today to win the Super Bowl because that will make him the second player since 1999 to win the MVP and the Super Bowl.
Yep, as they announced, I think last night, Cam Newton was named the league's most valuable player. Also, let's give kudos to Brett Favre, who last night was officially elected to the NFL Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio.
And one of my favorite coaches, Tony Dungy.
Yes.
Tony Dungy was the first coach in NFL history to defeat all 32 teams.
I did not know that.
Yep. He was the first coach in NFL history to defeat all 32 teams.
Tony Dungy, a good coach, and now, of course, is a broadcaster for NBC.
Right.
Does a good job.
Okay, Mr. Trivia, I'm going to put you to the test.
Okay.
What does Cam Newton and Boomer Esiason have in common?
Probably has something to do with college football, which I know absolutely nothing about college football, because I'd rather watch Division III Australian rugby before I watch college football. But I have no idea.
Playing in the Super Bowl 5 years after they came into the league.
Oh, was that right?
Yes.
There you go.
I did not know that. Boomer Esiason, who of course played for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yep.
After, I think he played in Maryland, University of Maryland. Cam Newton playing in the Super Bowl 5 years after he left. I'm not a big college footballer, but I believe it was Auburn.
Yeah, I think it was
You're
Auburn.
correct, sir. You are correct, sir.
But anyway, we've got a lot to talk about today. We have some Super Bowl trivia, some Super Bowl facts and figures. We mentioned this Super Bowl being an unofficial holiday. You know, a lot of people watch the Super Bowl that don't have any interest in football, but want to see the commercials, because the commercials are always legendary. They're expensive.
$5 million for a 30-second commercial.
$5 million, and I just also saw today that that's up from $4.5 million last year.
Wow. A 30-second spot is $5 million. Now, somebody figured out it was $166,000 a second for a 30-second spot.
Almost as much as some of the players make.
Yes.
Okay, I have a question for both of you. I want to get your opinion on this. I was listening to our good friend Jerry Christmas on Friday morning on WJMJ, and he was talking about the Super Bowl commercials and how they've gotten so outrageous in price. And he just feels, I don't know, that over the past years that the commercials haven't really lived up to the expectations for the last couple of years, and they kind of lost their lackluster, and a lot of the commercials you can see online before you can even see them on the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think I remember a couple of funny spots last year myself, and I posted this today on Facebook, being a fan of Bryan Cranston and Breaking Bad.
Say my name.
Yeah, the Walter White Super Bowl commercial, which I thought was hysterical. I remember the Budweiser frogs, which I think were legendary.
I think my best Super Bowl commercial was the Clydesdale horses when he went to kick. He said they usually do that. He said no, they usually go for 2.
Yes.
I love that commercial. They could show that commercial every Super Bowl and it wasn't bad.
Yeah. And of course, the best Super Bowl commercial, and this goes back to the 70s, and I think it was the #1 Super Bowl commercial as far as favorite, the Mean Joe Green, giving the kid his jersey because he gave, was it a Pepsi Cola?
I think it was Coke, wasn't it?
I think it was
Oh,
cool.
was it Coca-Cola?
Supposedly those two reunited.
Yeah.
I was reading somewhere in the news that Joe Green and that kid that did the commercial with him, they reunited somewhere.
Oh, is that right?
They ran into each other or something. And it was, you know.
Because that young man's got to be in his 30s.
Oh yeah.
I would think.
Yep.
But it's interesting. In 1967, for Super Bowl I, a 30-second spot was $42,000. Only $42,000. And now, 50 years later, 50 Super Bowls later, it's $5 million. So it's just amazing.
Yep, that's amazing.
I had heard, I believe they were supposed to have a tribute today, I believe, to Pete Rozelle, former commissioner.
I thought I had heard that. So Pete Rozelle was an outstanding commissioner.
And another thing you mentioned about the Hall of Fame, kudos to Ken Stabler.
Yeah,
Glad he was able to get in. Unfortunately, he got it posthumously. But it was well-deserved honor for Ken Stabler.
Ken Stabler of the Oakland Raiders, the Snakes.
Yep,
They
the
used to
Raiders.
call them. Yeah. He was one of Al Davis's proud Oakland Raiders. And yeah, it's nice to see that he made it. And as you say, it's unfortunate that he died. He died last year at the age of 69. I think he was a polar cancer.
I think so, yeah.
It was, yeah. But we're glad he's in the Hall of Fame, but it's unfortunate that he was not here to
How excited were you when the New England Patriots got knocked out?
Well, well, first of all, I was watching the game with Maureen, my beloved Maureen, who's a diehard New England Patriots fan. I was excited, but I have to tell you, there was a part of me that wanted the Patriots to win, because I think the Patriots would give Carolina a tougher game than Denver.
Well, they met in the previous
Yes, Super Bowl. As a matter of fact, I have it in my notes
I
here.
remember seeing that game because I said to a friend of mine, I said, this is a boring Super Bowl. It's nothing in the first half. It's boring. And then it ended up like 32-29 or something
I
like
do
that.
remember that.
Yeah, it actually was Super Bowl 38. So 15 minus 12.
Well, 12 years ago.
So Super Bowl 38, and it was it was a boring game. I remember Jake DeLong was the quarterback for Carolina at the time. Of course, Brady was still with the Patriots. But that was an exciting game.
You know, they had a question earlier, you were talking about Super Bowl trivia. They had a question the other day, who are the only 2 teams to lose 4 Super Bowls?
Well, you mentioned one.
Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
And I'm going to say the Minnesota Vikings.
Yep.
Bills and Vikings.
And you know, after Buffalo lost their last Super Bowl, they changed their area code to
044.
Yes,
But,
I did.
It's one of the things where it's nice to see different teams. Because years past in the 70s and 80s, it was always the Steelers, the Cowboys. 49ers, Steelers, Cowboys, 49ers. Now you've got these teams like the Carolina Panthers who haven't been in the league that long.
And I think the Carolina Panthers came out of nowhere. If you go back to the preseason, the Sports Illustrateds would come out with their predictions. I don't think anybody saw Carolina doing as well as they did. But you never know. That's the fun part of, as opposed to basketball, where you know it's going to be whoever LeBron James is playing for at the time.
Right.
And the Golden State Warriors, years ago it was the Lakers and the Celtics. You knew were going to make
What would today's Super Bowl special have been if the Dolphins with the Jets were in it? You guys would be off the book.
Oh yeah. Well, first of all, I'd be in Bellevue because I would just be a wreck. So, and I think Maureen already said if the Jets do make it, she's I think filing for a temporary divorce because she doesn't want won't be living with me if they make it. But I was around for Joe. I guess we were all, well, maybe not only with Jay, but I think we were all around for the Joe Namath Super Bowl.
Yep.
But I'd like to see another one before I can.
That's back before it was NFC, AFC.
Yes.
That was
AFL.
AFL.
The AFL, yes. Yep. As a matter of fact, the Super Bowl term, I don't think came in until after that. It was the AFL NFL World Championship. Yes. Is what the game was known as.
And we need to get one thing straight right now. Not Super Bowl 50, Super Bowl 50. I'm from Maryland, so we use the word 50. But like I said, it's going to be an interesting Super Bowl. They've had certain things on the betting lines, like who's going to score first. And they said on ESPN the other night, there's a really good chance that both teams could score 3 times in the game. And how many times has the Super Bowl gone into overtime? 50 Super Bowls, and there's never been an overtime
game.
Yeah.
You mentioned you can bet on everything, and I saw today Lady Gaga is singing the national anthem before the game. And in Vegas, the over-under for Lady Gaga's national anthem is 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Right.
So it's crazy. You mentioned the coin flip.
Yep.
Will Peyton throw an interception before he throws a touchdown? Will the defense score first? Will the offense score first? And there's so many propositions.
If you remember last year, and Ed, I'm sure you remember too. Was it last year or the year before? It was Denver, Seattle. Year before, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the only Super Bowl that had a score every which way you could score. They had a safety, a punt return, a kick return. Any which way you could score, they had in that game.
I did not realize that.
And that was the first time.
Really?
Because the very first play from scrimmage was a safety.
That's the play where Peyton wasn't ready for the hike and snapped it over his head. Yeah. And I'm sure Peyton Manning has nightmares about that. And I'm sure he'll be thinking about that when he lines up either under center or in shotgun formation today.
I did hear something last night which I thought was pretty interesting. We all know how outrageous the tickets are for the Super Bowl.
Right.
The lowest priced ticket for today's game was $3,000.
I saw that. I think you can get it on StubHub.
And that's if you sit in the men's room.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's, I believe that, because I've been to a couple of WrestleManias where the lowest ticket was like $1,500, and you're up in the Bob Uecker seat.
Yeah. It's crazy, and I know, we talked before about Pacquiao and Mayweather. I think ringside for Pacquiao and Mayweather was $20,000.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just, as a matter of fact, as an interesting sidebar, if you look at Pacquiao Mayweather, you can see, I noticed Donald Trump, Tom Brady, and then right behind him was Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of them are boxing fans, but it was an event to be seen at.
Just to be on TV.
Yeah. But that's the way ticket prices go. We have people we have to talk to here.
So why don't we take a break, and when we come back, we'll have a special guest with us. Stay with us. Welcome back, and now I'm joined by our host for today, Lenny.
Okay, kid.
Welcome once again, Lenny.
Thank you, Tommy. Thanks, Eddie.
Thank you for letting us come in here
Thank you,
for
Lenny.
Yeah, it was great.
the Super Bowl. Super Bowl number 50.
Super Bowl number 50.
So I know you're a big Giants fan. How are your feelings about these two teams today? How do you feel they match up?
Well, Denver's been relying on the defense all year. Maybe it's a little hurt. His arm strength is the one that needs to be. I think if he wins this game, that's what I. Yeah, well, like I was telling Ed before, you know, history shows that defense wins Super Bowl. Super Bowl, they got a terrific defense, and they can carry. Actually, the defense has been carrying it. With turnovers, interceptions, just like they did against the Patriots. They intercepted 3 times. Tommy went from number 1 offense to number 1 defense, so it'd be interesting. Right. But this is a different team that they're facing, and they don't get any respect. I don't know why. They were 15 games, and they're a favorite. But I just read the post. Yeah. All the things are first pick. But I think this quarterback, they're gonna find out.
That's when you first came into there.
Yeah.
He
runs, he pinpoint passes, he can pass, he's tremendous. I think that's the difference in this. They never met a quarterback. Right. I think he's the MVP.
Lenny, how important is it for Denver to make this game close? We saw Carolina blow out Seattle 31 to nothing in the first half.
And the Cardinals.
And the Arizona Cardinals.
Right.
How important is it for Denver to make this game close?
Well,
especially early in the game.
right. They don't want to get away. If Carolina gets off to a quick start, gets 2 touchdowns right away, forget it. It's going to be a blow. But if their defense can hold it, maybe the first quarter, 3 points, if they get a touchdown, they're in the game. But if they let the game get out of control quick, like Carolina can do, the game's going to be a blow. And you mentioned about how they blew out Arizona. In my opinion, I thought Arizona had the most complete team in the NFC. Yeah, everybody said Arizona was one of the best teams. I mean, they were one of the top teams in the NFC. And when you can beat like 49 to 15 in Carolina.
I did not expect that, I gotta say.
That kind of makes you wonder, you know. I mean,
I think there are plenty of people that thought that, although they said Carson Palmer chokes in the big game.
He did, and he did. Yep. He did. He didn't preseason.
Lenny, do you think Peyton Manning has to have a perfect game today for Denver to have any chance?
He's got to have a good game, yes. For them to have any kind of chance. But I question his arm strength. He's not the same Peyton Manning as normally I see. I think his arm strength is not like it used to be. Right. And you could see him float some passes out there. Well, he's 39 years old too, but it's, you know, Cam Newton's what, 26?
Let me ask you this though, if I may, because he's Peyton Manning, he's football royalty. If he has a couple of bad series, do you put in Brock Osweiler, who's a good quarterback?
I would.
But it's tough because it's Peyton Manning.
They get off to a little bad start, get ahead by 2 touchdowns or more.
Or Peyton throws a couple of picks.
Peyton throws a couple of picks, he's out of here.
Well, of course, we all basically already said that this is Peyton's last game, but he hasn't said it officially. But I did hear before coming down here today that he did shake everybody's hand in the locker room and everything and thank them all. And he did tell them, don't win the game for me, win it for yourself.
That's great, yeah.
Yeah. Will that psych up the team? Do you think that the team will win one for the Gippers?
Yeah, I think they're going to play harder because of him going out like a champ. You know what I mean? They're going to try their best to win this crazy.
Do you think it'll be competitive? Does your gut say it'll be a competitive game? Or I'm thinking blowout, and I'm hoping that
I hope it's not a blowout.
I'm thinking blowout. Well, it depends on, like Lenny said earlier, it depends on Denver's defense. I mean, if Denver's defense can hold them, I believe the first 3 series is going to be the key. If Denver's defense can hold Carolina in the first 3 series, it's going to be a close game. Because now that's going to put something in Cam Newton's mind, like, here it is 3 series and we haven't gone nowhere yet. Time to change things up. And that's just going to probably throw it right out.
And you bring up a good point. I wanted to ask you this, Lenny. A lot of the Denver players have been here before. Have been to the big dance. Carolina hasn't. How important is that?
Well, it's important to a point, but these guys are pros. And they just go they get excited. They might make some mistakes, but these guys are pros. I think they're a great team. I think they were underrated the whole season. I think they never rated. You know, they never got the respect they should. They won 15 games. I think they're terrific.
And Ron Rivera's won like what, 40-something games in 3 years. Carolina, so he's not a bad coach.
We're here at Lenny's Cafe, talking to Lenny Travaglio here on Super Bowl Sunday. Lenny, one more for me, and just for those of you who don't know, Lenny is a tremendous athlete in his own right. Besides being an outstanding boxer, also did play semi-pro football. I remember the American Shamrocks not too many years ago. I just wanted to ask, as a former player and an athlete, do you have an opinion on all the discussions going on, the athletes that are having problems now, the former athletes? Can you make the name statement?
I mean, you can try different helmets. Like they try different helmets. To make the game, I mean, what they're doing now is, you see them, if they touch a quarterback or off them up, they throw a penalty on it. You know what I mean? They're trying to get that, make sure they don't go helmet to helmet, or, you know, for safety. But the game is a violent game. I mean, these guys, they want to knock your head off.
I mean, they're athletes in superb condition.
They're great. Yeah. I remember once, kickoff, I ran the ball down and this kid nailed me. I went flying, right? Every time I get up, the guy's going over and he said, "Len, you all right?" I said, "What?" I was a little fuzzy. I said, "You all right?" "Yeah, you're a little fuzzy." I said, "No, you're all right." I was. I had to decide.
You think you were the bus?
Well, no, I think I said, Coach said to me, "Len, you're not going to go in the game right away." I said, "Yeah, that's fine." I was hurt, you know, and I respect that. You know, if I went to game being like I was and get hit again, you know, they try to protect that now today, and that's great.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, with the movie and everything else, it's just, and I did want to ask you as a former player yourself.
I got my bell on.
I was just going to say, you know, that you brought that up, that it's all come into light now with the movie and, of course, the situation with Frank Gifford.
You're right,
And
Junior Seau.
And before coming down here, as I mentioned, they were talking to the NFL commissioner on television, and they were talking about this subject, and he said that there's going to be a lot of rule changes in the near future. And he said if those rule changes will trickle all the way down to youth football.
Yeah, you're right.
You know, we got to protect our children too. You know.
Well, it's a violent game. These guys are in tremendous shape. You can't help it.
mean, some guys out there nowadays are 280, 290 pounds, and they're running a 40-yard dash in 4 or 5. Right? I run it in 4 or 5, 4 hours, 5 minutes.
Well, all right, Lenny, we want to thank you. Thank you for inviting us back.
Lenny, thank you again for your continued support and talking with Tom. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
And of course, that's Lenny Tremalio, the establishment owner of the establishment here. And you know, Lenny's very modest, but I remember as a very young man myself seeing him play with the Meriden Shamrocks at Seppel Field.
Well, that was back in the day when they had the lace to football.
It was back in the 60s at Seppel Field, and he played defensive back, and he was tough as nails. I did want to ask him about that. But we have other people that I think want to talk, and we have more Super Bowl trivia to talk about as we get ready for Super Bowl 50.
So why don't we take a break and we'll be back with our next
Good to see you.
Super Bowl 50, isn't it? I know you're a big Jet fan.
That's not true. Patriots. I tolerate the Jets.
Oh, you tolerate
I tolerate the Jets because they can never beat us.
I've already been threatened 6 times since I met Scott.
Really?
I was a Jet fan.
I like Jets or Dolphins too. I can't think Dolphins.
Well, my condolences first of all. You're a Patriots fan.
I know, it sucks to win about 65 Super Bowls.
So, as a Patriots fan, are you rooting for the team that beat the Patriots to win today?
I actually am. The thing is, kind of like last Monday night, Tuesday morning, you know, the Iowa caucus, people fall over the last thing they saw. People fall over the last thing they saw. People are freaking out because Ted Cruz won Iowa. I'm here to tell you that Ted Cruz is not going to be president. So let's stop. People fall over the last.
Well, I don't think he won last night, but that's another story.
I mean, just like the Panthers. I mean, people fall over the last thing they saw. 49 points. That's not going to happen. They had 7 turnovers. I mean, Cardinals had several opportunities to get back in that game. And people are just showing Panthers playing spurts. That line went from 4 ahead to 6. I just think, you know, I think 6 points is too much of a difference.
We had asked Lenny this before, and I wanted to ask you, how important is it for Denver to keep the game close? We talk about the Arizona game, they went out to a big lead. The Seattle
They have a great defense. They were going to keep it close. You're not going to turn the ball over and beat yourselves. They came out to themselves to keep the game close. I mean, there's a reason they scored Super Bowl 27 was 52-17. It's just they're going to turn the ball over 10 times and get down to center. Or 9 times, whatever it was.
Can they contain Cam Newton?
Questionable. They run that read option. I don't know. They can throw off and all these different things.
Hey, Scott,
It's a lot of different.
like I had said originally,
I think it's a lot of different facets to the offense.
if the first 3 series, I think are going to tell us for Denver.
Yeah.
Denver can keep, I call them scam Newton, but if Denver's defense can keep Cam Newton at bay, their defense is going to say, hey, we got a shot to beat this game. We got a shot to beat this guy back.
I like Cam Newton a lot. He's a good. I questioned his maturity for a while, but he's really developed into a good player. I just don't like his antics. I mean, showing up in a press conference with a winter hat on drives me nuts.
And those god-awful
And those god-awful hands. I mean, you're in a leadership position. Look the part. I mean, there's a reason why airline pilots wear uniforms. I mean, are you getting on that Delta flight with a guy in a tie-dye T-shirt, look the part. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but he's the part. If you don't take appearances in the court, you're lost. Of course he is.
He claims not to ever get nervous. Do you think now the biggest stage in the sports world today, do you think he'll be nervous?
Well, if he wasn't human, you had to be non-human. 2 week layover kills his team. Talking about it for 2 weeks. You know, 1 week layover, they had it for the Super Bowl. One of the best Super Bowls. Giants, Bills, 25 years ago. Patriots, Rams. I mean, 1 week away. Every time there was 1 week in the Super Bowl, I think Ben 49ers. Some of the years in 1 week they are. I mean, 1 week is sufficient enough. We don't talk about it for 2 weeks. Because one team comes out good, one team comes out stale.
Yeah, Thomas Davis, who was a Carolina linebacker, who broke his arm 2 weeks ago.
Trying to get back in the game.
Play today.
Yeah.
A, if he plays, and I assume he will he be effective?
Unknown. I don't know this guy. He might play. He's got to play because he puts it to his team. That could get to the point where you're detriment to your team might be out there. So, you know, he's not helping.
All right, so prediction.
At 10:38 tonight, 27-24 Broncos and a 43-yard Brandon McNabb field goal set up by a Cam Newton interception.
Okay, there you go.
There you go. Got it?
You heard it here first.
Other people got
There you go. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes.
Thanks, Scott.
An hour later.
Now that is a clip.
Yes, we're waiting. 2 more guests here.
Yep, I think we're going to keep the camera rolling here so we wait for other guests to get down. Scott, very opinionated and very knowledgeable. He's not crazy about the Jets, but
Well, who is?
I believe we have our 2 guests.
Yeah, all right. Here comes the shirt.
all right, ladies, if you want to
Come on, listen here.
have a seat
As long as
here.
it's Peyton Manning and not Eli, we're all set.
I don't need to sit. I can stand. Lenny.
Are you sure?
No, I'll go right here. You can sit.
Have to talk a lot. Have to talk a lot.
All right, and the microphone, and Jay, if you can get us all in the shot here. First, some names. You are? Colleen. Now, Alyssa, I want to start with you because you are wearing Patriot garment. You just speak right into that microphone there. And why are you rooting for the Denver Broncos?
I love the They're benefiting for it's a big deal to me.
Why did you? Are you from this area originally? All right, so with a Connecticut girl, what brought the attraction to a team almost 2,000 miles away?
She likes horses. I do like horses.
Let's go.
With my ex-wife, he used to be helmet.
Oh, okay.
Team with the nicest helmet for the win.
She likes horses, though.
I told her down to the Cleveland Browns that they were winning.
Do you think American Pharaoh will have a good year next year? No.
I'm a Giants fan.
Sorry to hear that.
Really? Yeah, not really.
Everybody in my house were Giants fans. I'm a Cowboy fan.
Or a Jet fan.
What are you looking for today? I mean, are you hoping it's a close game? Or are
I'm
you...
hoping my Spurs win here.
Yes, we saw you putting the numbers up earlier here. But are you, I know you're a football fan, but are you a football fan as well?
I'm going to be Broncos fan. Usually I'm against her. I'll be a Broncos fan.
Now, we've been asking other people, because there's a big fear that Carolina's on this tremendous roll, and the game is going to be a blowout. The game's going to be over by the end of the first quarter.
I think it'll go back and
Why
forth.
don't you think so?
I think it will go back and forth.
Do you think Denver will be able to stop Cam Newton on offense? And Alyssa? Same thing. Denver has the #1 defense in the NFL.
Now, do you think that Peyton Manning's age might have something to do with, because, you know, he's 39, Cam Newton's 26. Obviously, Cam Newton's a little bit more mobile than Peyton Manning. Well, my grandmother's more mobile. Obviously, he's a little more mobile. He can move in and out of the pocket a lot easier. Do you think Manning's age might have a little factor? Do you think? Because Ed had mentioned if he starts playing bad, they might bring in a back at quarterback. Do you see that happening?
No, I think he's more experienced.
Well, yeah, he definitely is. Yeah. He's been in the league, what, 100 years?
Well, he's had a tough year. He's had some injury issues. He's also thrown 9 touchdowns. but has also thrown 17 interceptions. And as you probably know, when he was injured, they brought in Brock Osweiler off the bench, and he was awesome. So the thing is, Peyton, who's football royalty, if he has a couple of bad series, do you bench him and bring in the kid?
Either one. I like both.
I just want to know what the prediction of the score is. What do you think the score is going to be?
Well, you know she's going to take the scores.
Yeah, let me check my scores and I'll tell you now.
If she's got 0 and 1, it might be 11-10. I never know.
Just like a championship game.
I'll say that. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Ed, that seems to be the consensus. A lot of people don't think it's going to be a blowout. You think a lot of people will be disappointed if it is a blowout?
Oh, I think everybody will be disappointed if it's a blowout. But to your point, I think we will know within the first 10 minutes of the game whether or not it's going to be a blowout.
But then again, you really can't look at it. You got to look at it as Seattle was down 31-0 at halftime. If they had 2 more minutes, they would have won that game. When I saw that game, it was like 31-0. This game's over. I turned it off and, watch the show.
And I think if that happens, a lot of people will turn it off. And the sponsors who are paying $4.5.
Yeah, the $5 million for 30 seconds.
Are you looking forward to the commercial?
Yes, Amy Schumer and Seth Rogen commercial.
What was your favorite all-time Super Bowl commercial?
Budweiser. Oh my God, with the dogs and the puppies.
I told Ed mine was the one with the horses. And the guy said, do they normally do that? I said, no, they usually go for 2.
Yeah.
That was one of my favorite ones.
And I know Pepsi has a commercial. I know I saw a spot with Tyler, who's the Aerosmith singer? Steve Tyler, I think the spot for Skittles, I think.
Now, supposedly they said Bruno Mars. Who the hell is Bruno Mars?
I don't know Bruno.
Isn't he a candy bar guy? Mars?
Bruno Mars, and well,
He's part of the halftime show.
Oh, okay.
yeah, Uptown Funk.
Yeah, that's on.
It's Coldplay, Beyonce, and then Bruno Mars.
I guess, what's her name there, singing the national anthem?
Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga.
Funny hair?
Lady Gaga.
Wow. So, okay, ladies, any predictions? What do we think?
All right.
I want to thank you ladies for joining us.
so much.
Enjoy the game.
All right,
You guys were great. You guys were awesome.
See?
All right, thank you.
Now you get your phone back.
Well, it's nice to get a female perspective on the Super Bowl. There's not very many women that like football.
Oh no. That's when they usually go out shopping, right?
Yeah, that's when they usually, I'm sure Maureen likes football.
She likes football. Well, yeah, she's disappointed that the Patriots aren't in it. But yeah, she's a football fan. She'll start the game.
Most of them know. We usually go out shopping with the husband watching football.
And then by the time they come home, the old man's all passed out and the game is watching him instead of him watching the game.
There is also, and actually, this is kind of a sad note, but it's always a Super Bowl Sunday is always when there's the most instances of domestic violence.
Well, I see by the thing that we got like 9 minutes to go. We can do our predictions.
Yes, why don't we do our predictions?
Okay, sure. Okay.
We will start with our guest
Well, first of all, I have another Super Bowl question for Ed.
Yes.
What was the largest margin of victory in a Super Bowl game?
I actually think I do know this doing my research. Can I take my guess? Yeah, I can tell you that the losing team was the Denver Broncos. And the winning team was the San Francisco 49ers. And I think it was 55 to 10?
55 to 10, 4 to 5 points. All right.
And the only reason I know that is Tom instructed me to do my research, so
we will start with our guest.
Oh, okay. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. I've heard so much about the Super Bowl show, and I was really honored when Tom had asked me to do this. But I'm going to say 28, 24, Denver on a last-second touchdown pass.
By Peyton.
By Peyton.
Okay.
Last-second touchdown, 28-24 Denver.
Oh, I hope I'm wrong, because I'm rooting for Peyton Manning, but I'm going to say something like 31-17 Carolina. I don't have a good feeling about this. I want a classic contest, I want a competitive contest, and I want Denver to win, but, you know, you're talking to a man who bet Manny Pacquiao when he lost, bet Marvin Hagler when he lost, and bet the New York Jets, and they always lose.
Now the end of the
Well, Ed, you and I aren't too far apart, because I'm going to say 42-28 Carolina.
I'm figuring 42.
Yogi Ferrell is
All right.
So I hope, Mr. Trivia, that you are right.
Well,
I'm rooting for Mr. Trivia score.
I look at it as, you know, the last couple of Super Bowls, other than Denver, Seattle, Super Bowls before that have been pretty interesting, pretty entertaining to watch. And if I go home and watch this game and it's 38-0 in the third quarter, I'm cutting it off. And as much as a football fan as I am, I'm looking forward to spring training, but if it's 38-0, I'm cutting it off, regardless of who's winning.
I'll probably leave it on just for the commercials. This was a great joint once again, and we want to thank our cameraman today, Hollywood J of the Squared Circle. Of course, you can catch the Squared Circle every Tuesday evening on our sister station, NHTV, Cable 18 in North Haven.
From 8 to 9?
Yes. And of course, then you can catch it usually the next day online as yours truly posted to YouTube and Facebook. Ed,
Thank you, this is fun. Another year in the books.
Trivia.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
I want to thank everyone for joining us, and thanks once again to Lenny for being a fine host once again. Good night, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Turn your dial to Cable 18. You will see the best in TV. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Sit back and listen. You will hear the best conversation of the year. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom. Just talking with Tom.